Time to time.
Time to time. But right now.
Yes. Now yes.
Okay.
Now yes.
Now yes. Could you not be happier? Happier. More happy. Could you not be more happy?
Could go.
Better. Of course, you know, I love this Israeli kind of, ooh, of course. Yeah. Of course you could be happier. So how can you call that happy if you can be happier? This is it. You see, like, are you healthy? Yeah. Well, couldn't you be healthier? Yeah. So you're not healthy. Yeah. This is what samsara is all about. It could always be better and better and better, and then we're kind of looking for the wrong place. So we understand our own suffering, not just the suffering of pain, but also suffering of change. And then this what is called all-pervasive conditioned suffering, that because of body and mind that we have, this kind of set of body and mind that we have, is very sensitive. Vulnerable. It's very vulnerable. It needs very little. You know, somebody looks at you in the wrong way, or somebody tells you you're an idiot, or you break this cup, and maybe it was a Chinese cup from the Chan dynasty or something. Maybe it was very, very precious, or you know, and then the whole thing, happiness, boom, is gone. Yeah, it's very fragile, this whole thing. We take with us 24 hours a day the potential from being quite okay and quite happy to just the conditions need to change a little bit to go. Yeah. It's amazing. I was like, I think the best proof I had was in Bulgaria, and somebody was doing mandala offerings very, very happily, you know. So he was already gone for like 2 months. He was doing this every day, very happy, so happy to do this. Then she, you know, at that time, the letters took a long time to come. So she got a letter from her boyfriend, which was like a month and a half old, that he had found somebody else. But it was already a month and a half before that he had found somebody else. She just didn't know. But then her happiness about doing mandalas, poof, gone. So I tried to explain. I said, but look, it's already a month and a half. So you were very happy before because the situation is the same. He anyway was not here. It didn't help. She said, you don't understand me. Yes, you're right, I don't understand. Anyway, they got back together again. But this, you know, this kind of in the same situation, he's not here, he's far away in Europe somewhere. Yeah? And whoosh! Yeah, so this is what's called the all-pervasive conditioned suffering. 24 hours we carry with us, you know, or Leora, she fell down. Now, it's not a big thing. She could have broken an ankle or a leg or an elbow or something. Yeah, it was so vulnerable. So vulnerable. It said so this combination of body and mind is like a match. You know, it carries with it the condition to burn. You only need to strike it. You only need to give it the conditions, and the whole happiness is out of the window. It takes so much to create some happy moments, and it needs so little to destroy it. So the Tibetans, they used to picnic. Yeah, so, you know, I don't know, how many of you have been on a Tibetan picnic? Okay. How is a Tibetan picnic?
Very noisy.
You prepare for at least a week. You prepare, right? The big pots, then the things you take away with you to play, like the ropes and the football and the ghetto blasters and this and that, the cards that you play. And you sleep there. So a picnic is always a few days. Yeah. So it's big preparation, heavy carrying, you know, the big pots.
So I wasn't in the picnic, I was in a New Year's Eve.
Yeah, no, that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. No, really a picnic outside where they love it, but they make a big event out of it. So preparation 1 week for 2 days picnic, and then they say you sit down, everything is good. You put on the music, a wasp comes, cham, and stings you. The whole happiness about picnics finished. That little thing. Yeah. This is how vulnerable we are. And it's not a satisfying situation. This is why you want to get out of it, because it does have causes, which is our previous actions that created energies, karmic forces, that when the conditions come, and this wasp is there, and you are there, and this wasp kind of feels some liking for you and goes, duck. And then that's it. Yeah. So then this wish to end it, because it has causes, whatever has causes can be ended, so that should come up, and then to see the suffering of others as well, that they are exactly in the same situation. So you see the suffering of your children. You don't need to train the mind to see the suffering of your children or your friends. You respond. How do you respond?
Compassion.
How?
Empathy.
Yeah, but compassion what?
Empathy.
And empathy what?
You listen to them.
How do you respond? Just by sitting there? Oh, I'm so empathic.
No.
Oh, I'm so empathic now.
No.
Oh, I have so
I'm
much
listening.
compassion.
I'm listening.
For example, asking, what is wrong? Can I help? You know, it comes very natural. The interest, the concern, the care is all there. If you label them my, this or that, or yeah. So then what we do, we see it in all beings. We see that actually my children are not separate from others now, but if you now kind of neo-bodhisattvas here, and you hear this for the first time, and you have children, please don't think, okay, from now on I go home and all other children are just as important as my children. Please don't, because that's not right, because then they get very insecure. If you really have bodhicitta and you have a natural concern for all children, and you don't have children yet, please don't make any. You know? Because then one thing is you don't need any to have this open heart, so you don't need your own. There's plenty of other children around. And second, they will feel very insecure, because you will want to go on courses, you will want to meditate, you will want to practice. So then you need to do like Shoshana, making prayers now. Please, next life, when I'm a woman, may I say it? Yeah. Please, next life, when I'm a woman, may I not have to wish to have children. She's making that dedication. Are you still making it now that you're Safta? Not so sure. But it's good to have your own children, and it's good to be a Safta also, because then you see that, hey, I can have natural concern. Yeah. I can have natural patience. I mean, if I look at young parents with their babies, they scream the whole night, you know, and they don't get angry, they get tired, but you know, the moment the child smiles, it's like, wow, happiness on 7th heaven or something. Or finally it sleeps. It's amazing. The patience they have when they get a bit older, you know, it's like you put that on their table and boom, it goes down again, put it on the zap out, you know. This total one-pointedness on the kid, I mean, it's amazing. No, it's really nice. Yeah. Okay, so to widen that, to have that concern and that care for all sentient beings, and then not to be afraid of the hardships, because you will have to give up a lot on what the ego wants. And for that you need to see the benefit. You need to see the benefit of being able to step back and let others go first. So we're not acting yet. We are just creating an attitude. Because if you start to act, but your mind is not trained, you will crash. And then you will start hating yourself, because you will feel, oh, this was so nice, and I really wanted it, but I'm not able to do it. Nobody's asking you to do it. This is a training. And you really go in these steps. See the benefit, see the suffering of others, maybe know other things of Buddhism, and have devotion, try to find a master where that is living it, and then also to say, yeah, it's worthwhile to bear the hardships. Okay? Are you okay with this? Okay. So we said first chapter was thinking about the benefit of others. So try to find a few verses there that you learn by heart, verses that kind of inspire you. When I look at my negative mind, what really inspires me is verse 5 and 6, I think, in the first chapter. Because sometimes, you know, I feel totally overwhelmed and I think like, shit, oh sorry. Is there a better word for
Oof, oof.
Huh? Oof. Oof. Yeah, oof. You know, I see, gosh, I reacted in a negative way. I didn't want to react, but again, it seems that sometimes like these habits are so bloody strong, like swearing, that I just don't seem to be able to do something about this. Then when I read chapter 5 and 6, I go, okay. 5 is just as a flash of lightning on a dark, cloudy night. For an instant brightly illuminates all. Likewise, in this world, through the might of Buddhas, a wholesome thought rarely and briefly appears. I sometimes have flashes of very mini bodhicitta. Like a flash of lightning in the dark night.
So it's okay.
Huh? It's okay.
Just
It's okay. It's like, because why? Why is it okay? Because that moment, everything, you can see everything. Okay, then it goes again. But it becomes light, it's strong, even though it's brief, but it's very strong. Then 6, hence virtue is perpetually feeble, the great strength of evil being extremely intense. And except for perfect bodhicitta, by what other virtue will it be overcome? So then I don't have to, like this whole thing, like delusion by delusion by delusion by delusion. Like bodhicitta is so strong, like this flash of lightning that lights up the whole area. Yeah? When you have this mind who goes like, instead of, I need to purify my negative karma, I need to purify my, you go like, why? Because I want to be of benefit to all others. It's so powerful. It is so powerful. It really overcomes this very feeble, otherwise kind of me mind. The me mind also wants to be virtuous from time to time, but it's it's not very strong. Whereas this one who says, I do this for others, becomes much, much stronger. So for me, it's those two. I mean, there's others who are also very nice. So it's good to find verses that you find inspiring, and then you can take them from time to time when you feel discouraged and when it becomes difficult and all this. Then again, in chapter 1, it's like these two kinds of bodhicitta. First, you're inspired by it. So I think, wow, that would be a good thing. You keep studying, you keep working on it. And then at one point you say, yes, I want to take the Bodhisattva vows at the end of chapter 3. So it's too early for you if you are here for the first time, to go, okay, I'll take these vows. But slowly, with time, you need to make the step. Yeah? And also, like a Sangha, I have a commentary here from a Sangha somewhere, where he says, well, actually, Bodhisattva vow is broken only when you do this with the mind of disgust. Against bodhicitta. So it's quite good to know. When you think, we do it out of habit that we break them. They're very difficult to keep. But when you go like, this stupid bodhicitta, why did I be like this? Then it is broken. Like when you come in with, especially anger, you don't desire, and attachment is they're not really involved in breaking bodhicitta. I mean, that's what Sangha said. So I like that, so this is why I quote him. So it's like, he says, it's the anger and desire and attachment not so, it's difficult to break bodhisattva vows, but with anger, hatred, especially hatred. Hatred goes totally against the bodhisattva principle, like wanting somebody to suffer, being happy when somebody is not happy when somebody is suffering. Yeah, so for the engaging bodhicitta, you take the vow, and you, as much as possible, you practice, again, you train in the activities of a Buddha, which is perfect generosity, giving whatever is needed, we come to those anyway then, because they're being described. Perfect generosity, perfect ethical conduct, perfect patience, perfect enthusiasm, perfect concentration, perfect wisdom, and then there's 4 others. So these are the actions of a Buddha, not of Bodhisattva. This is a training of a Bodhisattva. So we train them as much as possible. Again, we study them. What exactly are they? And I think we agreed, or at least I agreed, that next year we do 1 weekend on the 6 perfections. Because to really have time to take them apart, what does it really mean, these 6 perfections? And this text is helping you with this. This text is helping you to keep these bodhisattva vows. Because the bodhisattva vows are there for you to practice these 6 perfections. That's why I take these 18 root vows and 46 branch vows. If we want, we have texts in the Mapsan, we can take them out. And you can have a look at them. Very difficult to keep. I mean, the first time I saw them, I thought, I'm not crazy, I'm not going to take this. well, yeah, it's like, if I can't even keep not to lie, not to steal, not to this and then and all these others. So, but they can be purified, and as it says, they are like a gold vase. If you drop it, it won't break. You can kind of, it has a dent, but you can do them, and you can take them every morning. Actually, there's a verse where you take them every morning. Yeah. So then the engaging vows is like you say, yes, this should be the center of my life. And maybe you see your whole life, nothing changes, but your attitudes change. Yeah? Not just for my benefit, but also for the benefit of others. Like you can eat with bodhicitta by saying, I eat this now to keep my body healthy, so I can continue with this path. One day I will attain full awakening, and then I can be of benefit to all sentient beings. Or you can just eat because I'm hungry. It's a huge difference. It's a huge. You go to bed and think, may I sleep well, so tomorrow I'm not grumpy, and I'm not going to hurt anybody's feelings, and I can continue with this path. If you give some money to a beggar, you think at one point, may I give you dharma? If you give some food to a stray cat, stray dog, bird, whatever, one day may I give you dharma? Whatever you give, you say thank you, because they create the cause for you to become enlightened, because you need other beings if you want to practice generosity, ethical conduct, and patience. So then it goes that high that you think, whoever harms me, wow, great, they're really helping me on the path, because not so many people, at least not in my life, I don't know how it is in your life, who make me practice patience. Do you have many?
Yes.
I don't have many.
Yes.
Some have a lot.
Well, enough to practice.
Huh?
Enough to practice.
Enough to practice. Enough so that, not too many so that you're still happy about finding them?
No.
No. Exactly. Not spontaneous, but then we change. Then we change. And this is what we do starting from tomorrow, chapter 4, awareness. This is it. This is the awareness, not the awareness. Now my hand goes to the cup and it picks up the cup. Not that kind of awareness. But the awareness, what's going on in the mind. So that you're able, when you feel the, you see it. The same as now we don't see it, and when we start to see it, it's far too late because we already said the word, or we already had the reaction. You see it, and then you're able to dissolve it with, I don't know what kind of words we will use. Sometimes called conscientiousness, attention, mindfulness, concentrate. It's, but we will agree on 2 words, and we'll keep them, and we will give them a definition. So maybe you'll find some good Hebrew words. Okay. Okay, so then chapter 2 is starting with the 7 limbs, as we did before. Tomorrow, when we start tomorrow morning, we will read these 7 limbs. We will use them before every session. We will probably meditate on them a little bit. So it starts off by offerings, or he does all kinds of offerings that he owns. Then he says, but I'm so poor I don't have anything. He's a monk, so he starts to offer the whole nature. Then he offers like Samantabhadra. Samantabhadra was one of the Bodhisattvas in the Buddha's entourage, one of these 8 Bodhisattvas, where he was able to multiply them so that it would just fill the whole sky. Then he offers also verbal offerings, like offering praises. He offers prostration, paying homage, respect. So then the confession comes, like really, saying, hey, I did so many negative deeds. How can I not be afraid of my next rebirth? Because I know that I've done negative deeds. How am I so totally kind of, life is wonderful, and I'm not doing anything against it? So in order to get this energy to do something against it, then he talks in the 2nd chapter, he talks about impermanence, death, and then, what to do? Refuge. So the mind of refuge. Then one of the questions that I sent you was, what does refuge mean for you? So for those people who have, where are these questions? For those people who have received the question, did you think about that question? It's very important. If you want to develop bodhicitta, you have no refuge. It's impossible. Then it just again becomes a very lofty idea. What does it mean for you, refuge? Huh? Yeah.
There's some method or attitude or discipline that helps me to reach the goal of approaching being bodhicitta. I mean, and this is logically and emotionally, it gives me confidence.
It gives confidence, knowing what I want to do. I want to be a good person.
Yes.
I want to be like the Buddha, awakened, not harming anybody and only helping. It puts the mind in a very clear direction. It puts the mind in the direction of only through compassion, love and wisdom I will be able to have this lasting happiness. With aggression, I'll destroy it. With desire, I'll destroy it. With wrong views, I'll destroy it. Being nasty to others, I'll destroy it. Having not being grateful, not being humble, not being this. There's no way I can fulfill that wish. Trusting the Buddha's teachings. And asking for help. Now, because we do this in Bernals, I don't know in which chapter it comes, maybe in the 4th, where it says, actually the Buddhas are always there. You see, a Buddha's mind is all-pervading. They're everywhere. Not as one mind, but it's difficult to understand, but they know all of our thoughts. They can influence us on a subtle level if we are able to be influenced, if we are open enough to be influenced. So when things get very tight sometimes, what do? Imale! Well, Imale is not able to help you. Imale is not all-pervasive. So don't call her.
Jewish mama.
She's all-pervasive. But it's spontaneous, isn't it? When some danger comes, it's Imale. That's what I heard. So, do we use it? Do we use the refuge when it starts to get tight? When we feel negative emotions coming up and we go like, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Remembering the Buddha. Maybe even remembering, oh shit, he sees what I'm thinking. I better let go. Because otherwise I'd be ashamed. Yeah? Something like that. Do we have enough trust that they're everywhere? Just as when you feel depressed and lonely and all this. I don't know if it will work if you don't know the Buddha's teachings and if you haven't any faith or whatever, but if you know the teachings and you start to feel lonely and depressed, just to think, hey, the Buddhas are here, I'm never alone. Just that, it totally opens you up. It opens you up towards that energy. Just that thought. You see, the problem is we take the Buddha down to our level. And you say, okay, he has a few more qualities than I have and I can't see him, but you know, it's like we don't give him because the Buddha also doesn't exist out there from its own side. He becomes what we make him. Merely labeled. So if we see him, if you see the Dalai Lama as a normal person, then he will touch us like a normal person. Nice guy. Yeah. If you see them like a Buddhist, a Western Buddhist, they see them as an incredible teacher. So then you get much more benefit because you listen to what he has to say. If you're a Tibetan, you see him as a Buddha. I mean, if you look at Tibetans' faces when they see the Dalai Lama, it's like they would never stand upright in front of him. Never, ever. He would go totally against their nature. Yeah, so, or kind of just, clap him on the shoulder. He, from his side, he's not like this. He wants to be totally normal. Actually, it's quite cheeky. He was in Zurich, and the university professor, his English was really bad. So he introduced him. So I was watching it on YouTube. He was introducing it, then the Dalai Lama started laughing, and he said, "Well, hearing your English now, I get quite confident about mine because yours is much worse." So you see, when somebody like this says something like that, he doesn't feel. You don't feel hurt. You feel honored. That is the power of speech of somebody who is awakened or is realized. Whatever they say, you feel good. And it's true, he should not have been chosen to give that speech. It was horrible. It's barely understandable what he was saying. Yeah. And it wasn't cynical what he said. Like, so he's like, it was very sweet when he said, well, I get quite confident by saying my English is also very bad. But here you, well, it's quite good. I feel quite confident now. Where were we here? With the refuge, okay. So at the moment of death, if you take refuge, this is such a powerful mind because you connect with the Buddha, you connect with your inner Buddha nature that we all have, and then karmic imprints or karmic forces will direct you to a rebirth where you will find that again. But if we don't train in daily life to take refuge when things are getting tight, it's very unlikely that we're not calling Himalaya at the time of death. So again, it's a training to take refuge. And every time you go, I take refuge, or Sangha, Chödam, whatever, I take refuge, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, look at your mental state. Is the fear there, the fear of samsara? I can't do this alone, and I don't want to keep circling in samsara. And there's the trust there in the Buddha's teachings. So of course the trust only comes once you start practicing. It's amazing, how many of you have aversion to wood? You don't need to hold up your hand because I know we all have it. There are certain people that we meet sometimes that they just rub us up the wrong way. Like whenever they come into the room, we feel uncomfortable. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you have somebody like that?
Yes.
Yeah? And we totally blame the other person because, look, I felt quite good before they came into the room, and now I feel really terrible. So how can it not be their fault? And it doesn't occur to us, but it could be something in my mind. So then you start to dissolve with these arguments that come here in chapter 6 and 8. You start to use these arguments where Shantideva kind of talks to his ego-centered mind and with the wise mind. And you start to use those, and all of a sudden it dissolves, and it's the same person, and there is no more negative emotion, there's no more emotional reaction, and you go like, wow, this works. This is the trust that you develop, only while by applying it, and unfortunately it takes a long time. It takes a long time, and you have to do it again and again and again and again. The same thing, if you have a spot on your, like oil or something on your cloth, washing it the first time is not going to make it away. So you can either give up and say, oh, okay, there's a stain, or you can just continue washing it until it's gone. So that's what we do. We use these methods again and again and again until we feel, ooh, something is loosening up with that person. So then somebody else comes along, sure enough. Somebody else comes along who again gets on our nerves. But then we know that if I was able to do it with this person, I will also be able to do it with that person. So you continue to practice like that. When we come to the kleshas, then actually it's one step, the last step of the kleshas. You go and find difficult people so that you can train. You provoke your jealous mind and your angry mind. You provoke it so that you can train, because the better you get it, the more you train, the better you get at it, the quicker it dissolves. But that's the 5th step only, right? Don't go like this at the beginning. Right, so then it's refuge, and then there's more confession. So that is chapter 2, and so we finish with chapter 3. Can we go on until 9? Is okay?
Sure.
Yeah. So chapter 3 is generating the altruistic mind. So chapter 1 benefits, chapter 2 is 2 and 3 actually, is especially creating the conditions to be able to generate it. Because it's a very difficult mind to develop, that's why we need a lot of merit, that's why we need a lot, this is why the 7 limbs also. Like leveling out our field or taking the stones out. Now if you have a piece of land, which is our mind at the moment, is like a field that hasn't been worked on for I don't know how many decades, and so somebody, then you make the decision and say, okay, I'm going to work it. So before you put the seeds, you will have to do a lot of work. So that's chapter 2 and 3, creating the conditions to be able to develop the mind. So